You're looking for the plate? For the choir. There's a far end. There's a half in the flower pot. That's where they get left. Oh, okay. And every morning, we're singing the verses now. No. Whoever's not on the end here.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Evanston. My name is Annette Wallace. My pronouns are she, her. Oh, and I can't even see the mic. Whether this is your spiritual home or you are newly discovering this community, we're grateful to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community seeking truth and love and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love, and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention, and to dedicate ourselves more fully to living our shared values. People of all ages are a welcome and important part of our faith community, and we are blessed to have the children in the sanctuary for the first half of every service. And the entire service is for all ages about once a month. Hi. The nest in the front is our designated area for families with young children, where we have quiet fidget toys and activities and a kid-friendly order of service. Nursery care is available in room 11 every Sunday. As part of being a welcoming and inclusive community, we have some information posted on the screen that will help orient you to UCE and our service. And here are a few announcements. We're so happy to announce the Serendipity fundraiser that concluded last night with our celebration raised the amount we had hoped for in our operating budget, just over $28,000 net. Thank you to everyone who contributed to making this such a successful and joyful event, especially Chris Allender, who shepherded the amazing Serendipity team. Chris and Mike are currently on a plane to Japan without me for a much-needed vacation. Our deep gratitude goes with them. If you had anything to do with the Serendipity fundraiser, planning, volunteering, donating, bidding, attending, please rise so we can thank you. We are organizing a congressional camping trip for next summer. If you're interested in learning more, please join us today at noon in room 6 to talk about dates and locations. The UCE Local Response Network is a communication system designed to enable the UCE community to share with each other about when and where to show up for social justice. To join this email list or confirm that you are already on it, please see Allison Issen at one of the program tables after today's service. Tonight at 5 p.m. at Second Baptist Church, the Evanston Interfaith clergy and leaders are holding a post-election unity gathering. Please join in support and solidarity. On Tuesday, November 19th, the Unitarian Universalist Network of Illinois, known as UUANI, will host a post-election gathering from 6:45 to 8 p.m. to process the election results and address our ongoing work of building a new world together. Check the newsletter to register to attend. And we'll hold our annual bread communion on Sunday, November 24th. So bring your loaves of bread or a gluten-free option that morning, along with a topper like cheese, spreads, or jams. And it's yummy. It's hard to believe that December is around the corner. The family ministry team has 3 events coming up: Cocoa, Carols, and Community on December 6th to help wrap gifts for the Mitten Tree Ornament Sunday during kinship time on December 8th, and the annual Christmas pageant on the 22nd. Oh, I love it. Look for more details in the newsletter, and look for information on the Mitten Tree in the newsletter, including links to volunteer or sign up to buy gifts. Alice Swan will also be at the program tables in the back of the sanctuary after service. That's a lot. We got a lot going on. We're busy. And now, let us settle into our shared time of reflection, celebration, and inspiration as we begin our worship service. Those joining us online, hi. You're invited to gather your chalice as we join in beloved community. So I can't save the world. Can't save even myself. Can't wrap my arms around every frightened child. Can't foster peace among nations. Can't bring love to all who feel unlovable. So I practice opening my heart. Right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiency. I practice walking down the street heart first, and it is insufficient to share love. I will practice loving anyway. I want to converse about truth, about trust. I want to invite compassion into every interaction. One willing heart can't stop a war. One willing heart can't feed all the hungry. And sometimes, daunted by a task too big, I tell myself, what's the use of trying? But today, the invitation is clear: to be ridiculously courageous in love. To open the heart like a lilac in May, knowing freeze is possible, and opening anyway. To take love seriously. To give love wildly. And to race up to the world as if it were a puppy, adoring and unjaded, stumbling into my own exuberance. To feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, to stay open, to love as if it matters, as if the world depends on it.
We rise up, we won't back down.
The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on land that was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in 1829, shortly before the Potawatomi in this area were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. This land was then sold to white settlers. We remember the ancestors of contemporary African Americans, the individuals, families, and networks of Black people who built up our country's culture and economy, a role forced on them originally by enslavement. We acknowledge the intentional violence that landed on North American shores in 1619. It has continued throughout the generations and remains a reality today. These acknowledgments are one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to take what we learn here today and to incorporate it into our lives and turn our thoughts into actions. Please join in our words of shared commitment. We name these realities
with honor for all the ancestors, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space.
The auction team brought the flowers in recognition of everyone who contributed to the success of this year's Serendipity auction, the fundraiser. As they light our chalice, we celebrate the spirit of generosity that shines brightly within our community. We give thanks for every volunteer, every donor, and all who came together to make this Serendipity fundraiser a resounding success. So today, we honor not only those who gave, but also the spirit of giving itself, knowing that each gift, large or small, creates connections and fosters love. And we extend special recognition to Meredith Hayden, whose steadfast dedication has graced our fundraising team since 1986. Meredith, you have embodied commitment, care, and community for nearly 4 decades. Your light has been a guiding force, and we are profoundly grateful. Please read responsively the words on the screen by Angela Herrera. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Don't leave your anger behind. Bring them with you. And your passion. Bring your loving and your courage and your conviction. Bring your need for healing.
And the powers to heal.
There is work to do.
And you have all that you need to do it right here in this room.
Please rise in body and spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So before we sing our opening hymn, I invite those of us online to say hey to each other, greet each other in the chat, and those gathered in the sanctuary, turn and talk to somebody you don't know.
Please stay after the service and continue your conversations. And if you're new to UCE, please stop by the welcome table with the red tablecloth at the back of the sanctuary to get more information about our community. Let's keep continuing to build relationships and kinship among us. And remain standing for our hymn number 1006, In My Quiet Sorrow.
Good morning, everyone. Hi. Thanks, Melanie. I'm going to invite people in the nest who would like to act out our story a little bit with me. We're going to be frogs. So if you want to be a frog, I invite you to be a frog. Ready? Our story today is called The Frog Who Wouldn't Give Up. Once upon a time, there were two frogs. One morning, they were jumping up and down on a shiny, scrubbed floor of the dairy in a farmhouse. The farmer's wife caught sight of these two frogs, and she took hold of a big broomstick to chase them away out of the dairy. "I won't have dirty amphibians jumping up and down on my shiny dairy floor," she said. In their panic, the frogs looked for somewhere to hide away, out of the range of the fearsome broom and the angry farmer's wife. "Quick, over here," said one frog to the other. "I can see a hiding place where the broom will never reach us." So they hopped into a corner of the dairy, as fast as their little froggy legs would carry them. "Now jump as high as you can, and you know how," said the first frog to the second. And so they jumped. High and high and higher, highest. They jumped higher than they had ever managed to jump before. They jumped right over the big gray wall of the hiding place. And plop, they landed only to find themselves in a bucket of fresh cream, newly drawn off the milking pail. "Oh dear," said the second frog to the first. "That's it, we're done for. No chance of getting out of here." "Keep paddling," said the first frog. "There must be a way out. We'll think of something." Oops, I went too fast. "But I'm so tired after all that jumping up and down on the dairy floor," complained the second frog. "And I've completely exhausted myself making this great leap, which landed me in this bucket of cream. It's no use," he croaked. "It's too thick to swim in, too thin to walk on, and too slippery to crawl out of. We've had it. We're not going to get out of here alive." The tired little frog wanted to give up, but the first frog wouldn't let him. He kept on paddling, and he said to his friend, "Hold my hand. We'll keep paddling together. If you need to go slower, I'll do my best to keep paddling. And when I need a rest, hopefully you can paddle a little harder. We just have to keep going." The first frog paddled all through the long, weary night. He often felt like giving up, but he kept at it. Then, as he was just about unable to carry on, yes, the second frog, refreshed from slowly treading in the milk, and was now able to paddle a little harder, holding his friend's hand. They didn't know how they were going to get out of this bucket, but somehow encouraging each other and holding on helped them both to keep on paddling. Eventually, the sun rose, and the first beams of light came streaking across the dairy. The frogs who wouldn't give up looked down at the cream, tears of exhaustion welling up in their little froggy eyes. To their amazement, they discovered that they were standing on a mountain of buttermilk, which they had churned all by themselves. And out they hopped from the milking pail, onto the floor, and out of the barn to a little pond, a better place for them to be. The end.
Good morning, beloveds. This is the time in our service when we share the joys and sorrows held in this community. And as always, if you have a joy or a sorrow that you'd like read aloud from the pulpit, you can write it in the book that's found right on the table as you enter the sanctuary. You can email me, or you can fill out the form found on the homepage of our website. We hold these with tenderness and with care and respect, so we do our best to quiet our bodies and our minds and our voices. And we take in together a deep breath, and we let it out. These are the joys and sorrows that have been shared before service today. Adriana, the mother in the Venezuelan family that UCE has been helping, is filled with joy to announce the birth of her son, Aaron, this past Monday. Mother and son are doing well, and Adriana's daughter, Nicole, is very excited about her new little brother. And from Charlotte, Hannah and I are grinding through the shoulder season, but we are joyous that UCE stands at as a place of peace for our family. A joy from Sarah Devaney. As of yesterday, I have 7,000 words written out of 50,000. Congratulations. And Meredith Hayden extends gratitude to the intrepid crew of volunteers who pitched in and picked up the slack last night with the kitchen cleanup. Kathy Diamont, Allie Hunter, Mary Beth Roth, Chris Yu, Dan Solomon, Ellie Fedderson, who assisted Kathy Talmadge until after 9 p.m. Thank you. Schlepping trash, breaking down boxes, stowing rented glasses, bundling leftovers. We appreciate you all. Jen Weisgarver says today marks 5 weeks from my dad's massive heart attack that changed my family's life. The joy I had celebrating my new baby nephew on his way due December 27th with my dad and family yesterday is a privilege, and I'm determined not to waste this jubilant second chance. And finally, someone writes anonymously that their parents are Trump supporters and they don't know how that they will have a relationship with them. And I appreciate that sharing. Sharing these concerns of the heart is part of the practice of beloved community. Together we expand our celebrations and we lessen the burden of our grief. So you are invited to come forward and light a candle, either at this table at the front or there's 2 side tables for the joys and sorrows that are on your heart that might be too tender to speak aloud. And you can do so now or at any time during the rest of the service. And I also have at each station a well of tears into which you may drop a stone, as we know that many tears have poured from our eyes. And if you'd like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand. Please come forward now. For these joys, we give our thanks. For these sorrows, we give our love. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. This power prayer by Becky Brooks. Spirit of life, I have witnessed a loud love, an out loud love that challenges me. I did not recognize it at first, the rumble of an ocean I had long been under. But here it is right now, and it looks just like the whole world could be. It doesn't play nice. Why should it? When nice has only ever played it a lullaby. This love demands. A love so loud it lays rocks at the feet of children who can't find their path home across the pipeline any other way. This love is indifferent to tolerance. It invites you into your own heart where God, love's self, has come to take tea with you. Drink and know that like the other love, this love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Perseveres. This out loud love makes no secret of its aim to get you free, but first set fires. Throw the poison to the ground. Match the love sound for sound. Spirit of life, come and bring everyone. We're giving birth to something new. As we sing our response, our young people, preschool through 12th grade, are invited to head to their faith formation time with their adult leaders. Our response is hymn number 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. We will sing all 3 verses. Our reading is from A More Perfect Union, A New Vision for Building the Beloved Community by the Reverend Adam Russell Taylor, president of Sojourners, a Christian organization that works to advance justice and peace, and a former White House fellow under the Obama administration. He writes, I've come to learn that the beloved community is less a destination and more of a journey of continual renewal and transformation. Replacing harmful narratives will be hard. Embodying countercultural values and commitments will not be easy. Converting and transforming hearts and minds will take grace, patience, and determination. It will take a refusal to demonize those with whom we disagree and a commitment to love even our enemies. A shared moral vision of the beloved community will not be a panacea to cure our nation's ills, but it will help provide an essential treatment program. And while we may be hardwired for division and polarization, it is also ingrained in us to yearn and strive for justice and community. This journey of building the beloved community will be a hard one, requiring sacrifice, vigilance, and courage, but it will not be defined purely around struggle. The pursuit of the beloved community will also be filled with great joy, and in it we will find deeper purpose, belonging, and meaning. That's why it is worth pursuing, because the fruits of human flourishing, right relationship, and thriving communities are unlocked and experienced in the very acts of building the beloved community. Beloved community is agape love, deep connection, and constant curiosity. Beloved community is the relentless pursuit of equity and justice. It is understanding that our own wholeness and flourishing is tied to the flourishing of others, particularly the most marginalized and most vulnerable in our midst. In beloved community, loneliness and nihilism are replaced by connection, sacred purpose, and respect for human dignity. And beloved community relentlessly announces to us all, always remember that you are beloved and made for community. For our anthem this morning, you will be invited to join the choir in singing for some of the verses. There are 3 themes. The choir will introduce the first theme, and then Vickie will cue you to join in singing if you wish. She'll also cue you when to stop singing and let the choir carry us home. And of course, if you prefer to just listen and take in the message, you are welcome to do that as well.
let go, let go, let go, let go.
In the weeks leading up to the election, I tried to imagine what I would say to you this morning, dear ones. When I thought of the alternatives, I couldn't bring myself to consider how the one that happened would feel. I could only imagine myself, if the election went the way it did, standing up here before you, wordlessly shaking my head in disbelief. As it turns out, I have a lot of things to say, though I'm still shaking my head in disbelief. I've heard lots of feelings expressed this week: rage, bewilderment, dread. There's also a good amount of trying to figure out how this could have happened. I'm taking the news in slowly, paying attention to the pit in my stomach, and when I can't bear it, I turn to music to release a torrent of tears. I'm not a political strategist, and I'm not ready to make sense of things from that standpoint, but I am trying to understand and find meaning in a spiritual, ethical, and relational sense. I feel anger, rage even, but mostly I feel deep sorrow and fear. I'm grieving for the more perfect union I thought we might co-create. I'm fearing for the lives of those I love who have been scapegoated intentionally. I fear how the collapse of late-stage capitalism and imminent rise of fascism will impact each of us in different ways. I'm bracing myself for a whole lot of hurt. And I know not everyone in this room or watching the live stream will agree with this outlook. I'm mindful that there may be people taking in my words who are happy with the way the election went. And I've been asked, would someone who voted for the winner of this election be welcome here? And I say emphatically yes. Building the beloved community means no one. Thank you. Building the beloved community means no one is outside the reach of the transforming power of love. It is the work of our faith to keep our hearts and minds open to one another, and I remain committed to that work. I still love people who exist on the other side of a seemingly unbridgeable divide, though it feels now more than ever that those loved ones exist in an alternate reality with a different cultivated truth. But for all that we are feeling right now, it is our work together to not let fear, sorrow, or anger metastasize into hate, or allow ourselves to succumb to the narrative of a manufactured other. This election was won by propagating lies, the age-old division story that some other is taking over our country. In the months and years ahead, we must remain committed to resisting that narrative in whatever forms it takes. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, in the work of fighting monsters, we must be careful not to become monstrous. Beloveds, in our sadness, rage, and fear, we want easy answers. We want to understand what seems inexplicable. In our feelings of powerlessness, we want to determine the enemies to fight. But among all the things we must continue to resist, we must resist most vociferously the violence of turning the opponents of our values into personal demons. We must not submit to the notion that the beloved community is lost. We must continue to imagine and build it and strive for the more perfect union we long for. One way of doing that is to combat the entrenched polarization and the narrative of us versus them. Many of you have sent me articles and writings this week that have helped me process. Thank you for that. One was from the site Waging Nonviolence, an article titled 10 Ways to Be Prepared and Grounded Now That Trump Has Won, by movement organizer Daniel Hunter. The first two grounding practices the article names are to trust ourselves and find others who we trust. For that second one, he talks about Hannah Arendt's insights in recognizing and resisting totalitarianism. Totalitarianism creates an atmosphere of mistrust. Fear breeds distance, the author writes, and we have to consciously break that distance. We here in this congregation and in the Evanston community are powerfully poised to do that, to resist fear and hate and to build trust. We already have deep and abiding relationships across difference and across vast organizations of community partners, which we'll need to keep nurturing and expanding. These relationships help us practice trust and hold complexity. On Tuesday night, before the election results came in, we hosted our first clergy guest in the Meeting Our Interfaith Neighbors series that we're hosting all this year, Rabbi Andrea London from across the street. And she taught us that foundational to the teachings of Judaism is the idea of paradox, both and. And this is one of the ways that we find kinship with our Jewish neighbors. As Unitarian Universalists, we also try to hold complexity and nuance. We struggle to bridge differences, to wrestle with multiplicity, and to recognize the spark of the divine in each and every one. At the same time, we recognize the reality that we are all deeply flawed. With our networks of mutual trust, we can hold multiple truths, embrace ambiguity, and dismantle false monolithic narratives. Again, like all humans, we want easy answers in this ever-complexifying time to be alive. And easy answers were offered in this election, easy answers built on fear and mistrust. We are living in unprecedented times, defined by an overabundance of information and misinformation co-manufactured and algorithmically propagated. Never before has each one of us held so ubiquitously in our hands the ability to access, create, and confirm truth. Never before have such powerful tools existed to neurologically and societally entrench ideas and beliefs. Adam Russell Smith writes in the book, A More Perfect Union, if everyone is entitled to their own facts, there's no shared understanding of reality, which suffocates our ability to find common ground and break out of an us versus them mentality. At worst, we could be moving toward a world in which most people believe that nothing is objectively true and no one can be trusted. Friends, we need to resist that together. Throughout this election, we heard stories of low information voters, and though I'm trying, again, to resist the lure of easy narratives, I think that's a part of what happened. I think lots of people simply couldn't pay attention to the glut of messages being offered by both campaigns and simply selected the candidate who was most entertaining. But that isn't the whole story either. The electoral map would have us believe 80% of the country is red. The reality is there are people all over this country, in every state, who have complex systems of beliefs and values and lots of different reasons for voting the way they did or not voting at all. Some voted out of financial concerns, whether based in fact or feeling. Some voted because of their stance on abortion. Some voted because they believed lies, and some simply weren't paying attention. Regardless, we must resist the easy narrative that more than half the country is stupid, evil, or both. Last week, I listened to This American Life, which I do every week, and learned about the Tangle newsletter. The episode was titled The Small Thing That Gives Me a Tiny Shred of Hope. Anybody listen to that? Yeah. It featured a couple who held different political views and were becoming less and less able to talk about their differences or hold the same reality. It even led them to question to the validity and strength of their marriage. And then they learned about the Tangle newsletter and began to read it together. It's founded by Isaac Saul, who created it after recognizing the growing chasm of the political divide. He longed for someone to present a more nuanced, complex picture to the issues he didn't understand, so he began to compile different perspectives from multiple respected sources across the political spectrum. The couple in the This American Life episode, after reading the newsletter, still held different views, but they were able to talk about their differences and were at least grounded in a shared reality. I subscribed to it, and I just read my first newsletter. And as I did, I noticed that my heart rate came down a little bit. Not that I agreed with every point of view or that it eliminated my fears, but it made me feel less susceptible to despair and hate. Whatever you are feeling in this moment, I want to acknowledge you and support you in all of it. Your grief, your rage and fear, as well as your sense of possibility and maybe even joy. Here is a place we can express all of that together. Wherever you are emotionally in this moment, it's important for us to help one another, to hold on to nuance, and to encourage one another to keep moving forward, bringing in co-conspirators from every corner. Our way through this, whatever this is going to be and become, is at least in part to stay in the moment and keep turning to one another. Our new office administrator, Tori Foreman, started on Wednesday. Another one of those, yes! Some of you know Tori. That was another one of those ways that I failed to imagine how it would feel to be welcoming a new staff member on the day after the election. But we carried on. Tori, within the first moments of her arrival, was offering a helpful perspective. She said, "I can't worry about what I don't have control over," which incidentally is the fourth way of being prepared in the article I mentioned earlier. "I can only focus on the things within my sphere of influence," Tori said. "My family, my dog, my work." I've been holding on to that wisdom all week. And as we work to accept the things we cannot change, I want us to remember the things we can, including remembering and reaching toward the goodness in people. We'll need to keep searching for and recognizing the inherent worthiness and dignity of our neighbors, cousins, siblings, prioritizing those who are most vulnerable, yes, while still reaching out to those we disagree with or can't yet understand. We will need to organize and resist. It will be hard work, and we will do it, but not without joy and mutual care. Van Jones, the Black American political analyst, lawyer, and author, spoke after the lynching of George Floyd about the Black liberation theology of finding joy alongside lament in the struggle for justice. He called it Hallelujah Anyhow. Even with the bitterness, hatred, violence, and injustice heaped on Black, Indigenous, and people of color, the movements for liberation they've always led have always maintained the imperative of joy. They've always incorporated uplifting and creating beauty, and they've always centered mutual care. Think about it. From abolition to apartheid to the civil rights movement, they were all built around the core philosophy and practice of taking care of one another and holding on to joy. Even the Black Panthers, despite the false narratives created about them, grew power through community care, feeding and educating children, creating art, and providing safety and protection for vulnerable communities. And that core of mutual care expands, it uplifts, and it transforms everything it touches. We must continue to center joy and mutual care as we build the beloved community. The wise and inspiring Reverend Molly Hausch Gordon, my colleague, said, "Humans in Western cultures often need to feel like there is an upward arc to history and some promised arrival in order for there to be meaning in our lives. But the place we are going is just around the sun, on a miracle of a planet, And I want to tell you that we are still alive in a world that is so beautiful and so brutal all at once, and always has been. And it is all drenched in meaning, no matter where it's headed, and it matters that we love each other well, and that we drink up the beauty and resist the brutality. It matters. End quote. Dear ones, I still believe most of us want to create a more perfect union. I still believe most of us know kindness matters and caring for all people matters. I still believe most of us want to take care of our planet and one another, even if we disagree about how best to do that. We need to keep finding each other, drawing each other in to that ever-widening embrace and mobilizing nonviolent acts of resistance. We will need to organize and strategize to continue to boldly and powerfully live our values. We already have networks within this congregation and among our community partners, and to continue to act for justice in the world. I know we will keep clasping hands, building those networks, and marching forward together. I want to encourage you again to sign up with the UCE Local Response Network or join the UU The Vote Team, which will regroup and refocus on next steps. I hope you join me tonight at Second Baptist and our interfaith partners for encouragement and strength. You might join the UUANI call on the 19th or take part in one of the many opportunities being offered for community lament and actions of joyful resistance and hallelujah anyhow. And we must pace ourselves. This is going to be a long, hard journey. We must listen to ourselves and one another. We must encourage each other and support each other. We must paddle hard when we've got the energy and take rests when we need to. We must cling to one another and imagine the possibilities of a better world. But for now, beloveds, I want to encourage us to be right here in our bodies, in the grief and sorrow and anger that we feel. Let us breathe together. I invite you, if you feel moved, to settle your feet on the ground, to rest your hands in your lap, to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Let's practice together in this moment, remembering that every moment offers itself to us to remember our light and our strength. I invite you to imagine the spark of possibility within, among us, and far beyond us. Picture it in your mind, the tiny spark within you, though it may seem low and flickering right now. Imagine your hands gently cupped around your light to preserve it, shelter it. And now imagine another, a trusted friend, a companion, a neighbor, or even a stranger gently coming to sit beside you with their small flame, their tiny spark. Imagine they join theirs with yours, and now they are together, each flame growing a little brighter as they burn next to each other. Now another joins with the two of you making three, and again the light grows in the room where you are, in your mind. And now you see more and more people joining, the light growing stronger, and you realize the room is full of people. People of different sizes and shapes, ages and skin tones, people wearing different colors. Each one has a light, and when you gaze upon it, the glow of it expands. Imagine our combined light, like the blazing sun rising and filling the sky. Imagine all the beautiful animals and trees and plants and rocks you can observe in the glowing and growing light. Notice how far from alone you really are. Feel the power of love growing within you and emanating out, a power so strong it cannot be put out. May we rest in this knowing of the enduring power of beloved community, even as we're co-creating it. And I want to close with this poem shared with me sometime before Tuesday, titled Safety Net by Rosemary Watola Tromer. This morning I woke thinking of all the people I love and all the people they love and how big the net of lovers. It felt so clear, all those invisible ties interwoven like silken threads, strong enough to make a mesh that for thousands of years has been woven and rewoven to catch us all. Sometimes we go on as if we forget about it, believing only in the fall. But the net is just as real. Every day, with every small kindness, with every generous act, we strengthen it. Notice even now how as the whole world seems to be falling, it is there for us as we walk the day's tightrope, how every tie matters. Beloveds, we will keep weaving the net. We will resist the forces of hate. We will take care of each other, those most vulnerable and ourselves. We will remember that we don't weave the net or carry the weight of it alone. We will keep going, as my beautiful child told me this week. We will keep marching on. Let love, joy, beauty, and liberation be our guides now and always. Amen, and blessed be.
As we extinguish the chalice, is that what we're doing now? Yes. Come on, y'all. As we extinguish the chalice, please join me in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 1020, Oyaya.
Amen.
Beloveds, we rise and we will resist the systems of power that prey on fear, hatred, and division. We will continue to see one another fully, to love one another boldly, protect each other fiercely, and co-create the beloved community together. Let us go waging peace and liberation, creating heaven on earth. Amen, and blessed be.
Amen.